Hello and welcome to our CSU International Programs Study Abroad Information Season. To start, let's start with an overview. I'm going to do a quick self-introduction about myself and my personal study abroad experience. After that, we'll talk about the basic IP information. Okay, my name is Marvin Wang. I'm the CSU IP student assistant, also a member of Academic Council on International Programs. More about myself, I'm a senior business administration major with a concentration in finance. I'm a transferred student, first generation in college, and then my program is called CSU International Programs, academic year 2018 and 19. So more about my study abroad experience. And the program I went to in detail is called CSU IP China, Peking University. And then what I did is I studied business, social studies, and psychology courses while abroad. And I went by myself, lived at the school dormitory. For transportation-wise, abroad, we used Didi, which is like Uber in China. And also Subway is very useful as well. Also, besides that, we got something like a public bike sharing system. Like those are one of those things you can find on the street. They have a QR code, scan them, and you can ride them and pay them afterward. Also, after that, culture shock is something that's very important to me, which I experienced abroad, both psychologically and physically. In detail, I'll be explaining them later in the later slides. As for now, let's move on to the next. What I really liked about my program is it allows me to go to this like top ranked institution in China where I can make friends, grow, and learn knowledge, which is like different from my home school, Cal State Fullerton. Like here. Okay, and next let's go for the cost, personal budget, and some tips on how to save money abroad. To do a quick comparison, we can start with the program estimated cost and budget. So here you can see, let's use the undergrad California resident as an example. There are two parts. Cost due to IP. Those are the costs you have to pay to IP directly before you leave the country, before you leave the States. And the second part, additional out-of-pocket cost. For those are the costs you have to pay to the service provider directly. Cool, and next part is a example about my personal budget. So we can do a quick comparison. Here, let's go back to the first one. Here, if you can see on part 1, that's most likely tuition and out insurance fee, departure, pre-departure, and re-entry, group activities. And that's a total of around like $8,000 for undergrad California resident. And for additional out-of-pocket cost, that's around like $10,000, including visa-related fees, arrival expenses, housing, meal, personal expenses, and round-trip affairs. And now let's try mine. Okay, here you can see for the rent, which is dormitory for me, is like around $464 per month. I lived in China for like 10 months, so in total that's like $4,640. And the food and other expenses, that's the part where I overspend. But it's quite normal if you go abroad and you kind of do not control your budget very well. Things like that will happen. So I spend around like 11, actually not 11, like 1,127 per month approximately. So in total for 10 months, that's like 11,000. So that's the part where I kind of overspend, and that's the part that increases my personal budget, like the total personal budget. And also other costs will be including passport, application fees for the first timer if you want to apply for a new passport. If you already have one but it needs to be renewed, there is like $35 execution fee. Also, besides that, visa is very important for all students. If you want to go to a country, you need to apply for their visa. For China, it's $140. Also, for my flight tickets is $950 for going because I bought quite like very short time before I leave. So price is kind of expensive, but on my return flight it only cost me $250 because is I bought like half a year before I go back to the States, or I came back to the States. So subtotal for my personal budget. So if we can go back to the first school budget, that's part B, part two. So that's like for me, it's 17,000. And let's go back here. That compares to the 10,000, I overspent like 7,000 or more. But it's totally normal, and that I wish that could be a good experience for you guys to know before your trip abroad, so you can see if you have enough budget and if you can get prepared. Because sometimes by living abroad, there are other costs that might increase your out-of-pocket cost. And the ways to save money are like some tips. Best ways is to just not going out to eat at a restaurant. If you can cook at your home, or like just go low budget, you can save a lot of money on food. Also, besides that, buying gifts, traveling. But on the other way of saying, like, if you go into if you went abroad, it's best you go visit more places, but like it's all based on your budget. So it's your decision. Here's all the advices for you. Okay, and the next part, more detail about my study abroad experiences. So what happened for my trip, or what I learned from my trip, is I made connections, and I find friends, and then learn knowledge, friends with similar goals, and then knowledge about business, my major wise, and it helped me build up my connections, and like in depth influenced myself, build my confidence, and again a lot of experience, like making friends with people, working experience, and just all kinds of experience. Some of them you get from school, some of them you don't. Some of them they are just like study abroad only. So next will be in-depth culture immersion. So I'm an Asian. I'm actually Chinese and Chinese immigrant. I came to the state like in 2010, which is like around 10 years ago, and I never went back to China afterward. So this trip back to China to study abroad is my only time. It's my first time going back. And here is something I want you to know. By studying abroad to China, you have to be a non-Chinese citizen to apply. Just a quick saying about that. But for me, yes. So I never went back for the past 10 years or 8 years. And so there's kind of a gap between China and me back in this old time. And then the year I spent in China helped me emerge and merge both of the culture into myself, and became a new me, or like a me that includes both American culture and the Chinese culture. Next part is, like I mentioned before, like internship, work, or like company visit, entrepreneurship opportunities, which I experienced in China. That was really, really helpful as well. Based on my like native Chinese speaking, I was able to find an internship, and I worked again work experience to help build my confidence and help build myself in like experience wise. Also, next part will be the culture shock part I mentioned earlier. So as I mentioned earlier, psychological culture shock, and physical culture shock, or like concerns and challenges. So psychological is, as I mentioned earlier, I was Chinese, but there's a gap between, like, I was very much influenced by the West American culture. So at the time when I went back, at the beginning of my study abroad time, when I went back to China, I was having trouble communicating with locals, because my way of thinking and my way of saying things is quite different from how they were doing things. And that took me quite like a month or two to overcome this hard time and learn how they were communicating, how they were like talk with respect, how they were talk, not really only with respect, but just like their way of respect and their way of saying things. And also the second part, physically, is I broke my shoulder. This is my first time hurting myself, and I was abroad, so that was like really, really challenging and big concern about myself. I was hanging my shoulder for like 3 months. I was not able to move it because it's not movable. So that's a big time. And then but my local supervisor and my study abroad international insurance covered me really, really well. They brought me into hotels, helped me do X-ray, check my shoulders to get out those tears for me, help me help my shoulder to recover. And due to the insurance, and since I did not pay that much for fixing or like curing my insurance covered almost everything, all my cost. And after I come back to the States, after my study abroad program period was ended, there are 2 returning opportunities. First will be CSU IP assistant, and the second one is academic council on international programs, which I both applied and got. Luckily, I got in, which is an honor and a great experience. Cool. And so those 2 are the returning opportunity, but there are more as always. That's the only 2 I tried. And next part is my current goal is to graduate and then go work internationally or like start my career internationally. All right, cool. Now let's start with the basic IP info section or info season. So as always, let's do a quick overview about everything. We're gonna start with study abroad contact and social media or study abroad stuff, how to apply to IP, financial aid, scholarships, next steps, how to attend study abroad advising, Global Titan Buddy Program. Okay, cool. So our office is located in Titan Hall 1122 called Global Titan Center. Our phone number is 657-278-2787. Our office hour there might be some changes, but let's just based on from here what we have here. Due to coronavirus, time might be changes. Look for the update on our like websites in below our email address, which I'll announce later. So besides that, if you have any question or you want to contact the office, please feel free to email us at asabroad@fullerton.edu. And for all the information, as I mentioned, like about our office hour or like about how to apply, use our CSUF website, www.international.fullerton.edu study abroad. And also there's the other side for CSU IP. It's called CSUIP.calstate.edu. And feel free to follow us on Instagram for like most recent updates and more about to receive more about study abroad info as well. There will be new programs. There will be application deadlines posted as reminders, scholarships, events, etc. And we have both Facebook and Instagram. And then you can also see posts from other CSUF students who's currently abroad. There are like Instagram takeovers, Instagram interviews, etc. Okay, or study abroad advising stuff. So we have 2 on CSU in our like Global Titan office. We have 2 advisors, June Kim and Eileen Victory. So they were separated by students' majors. For example, June should be taking care of students who's majoring in business and economics, communication, engineering, and computer science. Eileen should be taking care in students who's majoring in arts, education, health, and human developments, humanities, and social science, and the neutral science with mathematics. Besides that, if you have specific questions about CSU IP, like going to study abroad with this program, CSU IP also have their own advisor. You can email them with the following email, csuip@calstate.edu. Okay, next, detailing about our study abroad program, we have 4 types in CSUF. First one is CSU International Programs. It's a year-long exchange programs with the CSU system, the whole system. And then next is CSUF Reciprocal Exchange. It's a semester-long or year-long exchange program with CSUF or Cal State Fullerton partnered universities. And then CSUF Department Programs is a short-term or semester-long faculty-led programs is like sure could be 2 weeks or like it sure could be a month or a semester long, led by or like faculty. Also, CSUF co-curricular and non-credit bearing is a short-term service learning and research presentation program. Also, besides all that, we have like for both CSU and CSUF program, the benefits is like you pay CSUF tuitions and fees, and you can earn resident units. You can also use state and federal financial aid, except for the short programs, cause for example, like 2-week-long programs, that's like or like summer programs, winter programs, you might not be able to use financial aid for those. Okay, more about our like CSU international programs. It's a year-long exchange program, as I mentioned earlier. It's full academic or calendar year program. Academic is like semester system, like what we hear, which semester starts in fall and then it ends after spring. But for calendar, it starts in spring and ends after fall. Depends on the programs. And for the IP programs, we have over 62 programs in 18 different countries, 13 programs offered in fully instruction in English. Most major available, although might not be in every country, but most likely available. Also, choose a program for your major or just like choose a language you want to learn you're interested in. Requirements, usually junior or senior standing, GPA around like 2.75 up to 3 or higher. Sometimes some program might have language requirement. And here on the left side are some pictures with our students who went to study abroad at IP, with IP in foreign countries like French and Australia. Okay, cool. Next step will be the study abroad 5 phrases. So first one is advising, which you can use the academic bulletin. You can find it on our website, like CSUF website or CSU IP website, and then go check our CSUF IP and the host websites. For example, host will be the country or the universities you want to go. You can check their local website and see what's needed, what need to be prepared. But it's best to just check with all 3 of them, and also check your budget, meet our advisors, and also like other students, like study abroad returnees, alumni like me. So you can just like get more experience, ask us about your questions. Next, second phrase will be applications. There are at least 2 applications due. For now, for IP is like you have to apply with both CSUF with us, with the office, and on CSU IP website on both sites. Also deadlines, double check the deadlines. For example, for IP programs, deadlines could be from September 1st, and there are 2 deadlines, September 1st and February 1st, depends on the program. Also, be prepared for an interview once you you've submitted your application, and you have to meet with our advisor to talk about your program, and then we'll talk with you. Also, you need at least 2 to 3 recommendation letters to help you fill an application or like get prepared. Also, you need to fill out a host university application afterward as well. And also for the classes you want to take abroad, there is a class approval form which you have to take. And then the third phrase will be pre-departure. You have to make your payments, attend your pre-departure events hosted by the CSU IP, and then apply for your visas. Okay, next. So the fourth phrase is while abroad. What you have is you have our local host university support. You also have us, CSUF, or like Global Titan Office, and CSU IP support. And also after that will be class registration. Double check your classes, what you're gonna take, and make sure you can register all your classes and be prepared for the classes abroad. Also, there is like full-time enrollment requirement for 15 CSUF units per semester if you go with our like IP program, and then be prepared of academic cultures and then culture shocks. because every culture and language as well, because every culture there is like some cultural differences, which as I mentioned earlier about my culture shock, it's always good to be prepared and learn more about it. Also next will be IP activities. By going through IP, there will be so many activities will be hosted by our local office. They'll bring you to trips and then show you around the local sightseeing places and traveling around within the country, within or host or like study abroad destination country. And then as a returnee, you get opportunities as became an IP student assistant like me, or academic council on international programs, student representatives to get more involved with our program and in CSU IP. Also became a volunteer with our office as you can be a speaker like me to talk with more students, doing presentations about studying abroad, share your experience, share your thoughts, and what like your growth after you come back. And then, or you can also try to go abroad again if you want to, without other programs, with any programs you want to go, even with IP. Next page. How do you apply? So no matter what type of program you choose, you must always remember to apply with both CSUF Study Abroad online application and the CSUIP website. So with our CSUF Study Abroad online application, you have to do it on international.fullerton.edu study abroad. You can by clicking this link, and also for CSU IP programs, you have to apply online with both CSUF and CSU IP, as I mentioned, both sites. You can see them on the left side. Those are the on the upper, that's like CSUF Study Abroad website, and then the one below is the CSU IP International Program website. And then if you want to search about the CSU IP program website, you can just follow here at CSU IP Cal State EDU index phase A function A programs map search. And then after acceptance, complete host application. So after you applied with both Cal State application and CSU IP application, and then you got accepted, you also have to fill out a third application at the host university you were trying to apply for. For example, for me, I'll be applying Peking University afterward. Okay, cool. Founding financial aid. Remember to apply your FEFSA application every year in order to qualify for financial aid. Application opens October 1st, and they are due like in March, around beginning of the March every year. And then here is the website. Also remember to visit our CSUF office for financial aid. Double check with them. IP will accept financial aid as payments for tuition and program fees. Also remember that IP programs can use federal, Pell Grant, federal loans, and state Cal Grant, SUG financial aid. But also financial aid is not typically offered for programs occurring during winter, summer, as I mentioned earlier. Short-term programs, there you cannot use financial aid, most likely. So budget year aid throughout the semesters. Also, work study cannot be used for any programs since most likely you will not be working abroad. But there will be internship opportunities for like some of the IP programs, not all of them. But like work through those are not work study either. So, and here, scholarships. Here are 4 types of scholarships available for you to check. For example, let's start with need-based. That a good example will be Benjamin A. Gilman Scholarship or Fund of Education Abroad. For those one is like, as long as you have need of scholarship and they were trying to go abroad, you can apply for those, and those one are open to everybody. Next one will be college and department based. For example, Maxwell International Travel Scholarship or HSS Scholarship. Those are offered by department. For example, Mahalo will offer their own scholarships for a student who's trying to go abroad, they can apply them. If you are not a student of Mahalo College of Business and Economics, you will not be able to apply. And then location-based example will be Bridging Scholarship for Japan and the DAAD for Germany. So as you can see, those Bridging Scholarship is only for students who's going to study abroad in Japan, and the DAAD is for students who's applying to study in Germany. So that's how you understand as location based. And then IP scholarships is CSU IP's own scholarship. As long as you are applying through IP program, you can always apply for their scholarship. It's like $500 scholarship, I believe. And also, besides all four of those type and what I list here, there are always more scholarships for you to find. Just on Google search for scholarships, there are so many available for you to try. Give it a try and then see what you can find, and or like just contact us. We'll be having information for you as well. Okay, more about next steps is how to search for the programs. To start with, just go to your website, International Fullerton EDU Study Abroad, and then check search programs and select international programs, IP, and then check the courses, their cost, requirement, scholarships, deadline, etc. And think about your goals before you're going abroad, and then be open for different destinations as well. So about thinking is just like make sure you know what you're gonna do abroad, so you won't waste your time. And then, like for example, you went to a place and then you might not like it there. Afterward you're not liking it there. So think about carefully. You really want to go, and then be prepared for it. Also, be open for different destinations for different country. There are multiple applications, multiple universities you can apply for. If this one is just like you really want to go, but it's really hard to go in, you can check out other universities that's also in the place you want to go, the country you want to go. So always be open for that as well. And talk to your family and friends about studying abroad. So make sure they're updated, and then they can give you some advice and share your thoughts with them. Applying for a passport, if you don't already have one, okay, or if you do but it's about to expire, remember to renew them. And then fill out your FIFSA each year. As I mentioned earlier, you don't want like you were abroad and then you didn't get a chance to fill out your FIFSA. After you come back, you don't have financial aid for the year that's after you got back, for the year after you got back from study abroad. So it's gonna be bad. And also visit our financial aid office, visit your academic advisor, and meet with our study abroad advisor, either June or Aline, and to talk about the program, to talk about your thoughts. Afterward, you will be ready to apply. And now it's like about our study abroad advising page. So we do accept appointments. We accept 15 minutes to 30 minutes appointments, and then you can make appointments online at International Fullerton EDU Study Abroad. Time will be Monday 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., Thursday 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. But due to the current situation, please feel free to double check with our staff in the office to see if you can make an appointment at their specific time, because I believe we're all like operating through virtually right now due to the policy. And then for June, for walk-ins, that'll be 15-minute walk-in times, walk-in hours, Tuesday 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Wednesday 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's gonna be first come, first serve. And then for Eileen, it's also a 15-minute appointment, like walking hours appointment, and it's gonna be Tuesday 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Wednesday 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. same time, first come first serve. And afterward, next page will be, feel free to scan this QR code, because this is a program offered by our Global Titan office, that because there are so many students who's from other country, they will come to Cal State Fullerton to study abroad. So for example, if you're interested in Japanese or any other languages, Germany, Spanish. You can meet people from those countries and make friends with them. Learn a language, make friends from like a foreign country, and then at a later time, if you want to go to their country, you already have connections. You already have friends there. So it's a great opportunity. And then just scan the QR code, fill out the form. We'll be getting you out the body at the beginning of every semester before the deadlines. And here we go. As a quick review, thank you again for coming. And then today we did a self introduction about myself. We started with that, and then afterward I shared my personal study abroad experience along with basic IP program information. Okay, thank you very much for coming.